Again, welcome to the final set of these devotional messages. Today I will be covering the burial of Jesus. Now it's a short passage, but I'll go into it and explain it. Okay, so what I'm reading from today is Matthew 27 verses 57 to 61. Okay, so as evening approached, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who had himself become a disciple of Jesus. Going to Pilate, he asked for Jesus' body, and Pilate ordered that it be given to him. Joseph took the body, wrapped it in clean linen cloth, and placed it in his own new tomb that he had cut out of rock. He rolled a big stone in front of the entrance to the tomb and went away. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting there opposite the tomb. As you can see, there is not a great deal mentioned in this. It's just where Jesus' body was basically going to be laid. There's two small sections I want to show us in this. First one being that Jesus is truly dead. Now this is really important to note that Jesus is dead, so there can't be passed any lies around. Like I'll go into it later about how the Pharisees were worried about lies that Jesus' body was stolen. And the second one is that Jesus really shouldn't have received this kind of burial. At that time, it really wasn't customary for Romans to allow this. But normally, if you were crucified under Roman law, when you were dead, your body would have just been tossed into the environment for you to just decompose and to rot and to let animals eat you. Not very nice, really. But the Jewish people did stuff differently. They even if you were a criminal, you were still buried. You weren't allowed to be buried in any family plot, and you were buried with no honor, basically. So you get no honor, but it wasn't quite as rough as the other one. But Joseph of Arimathea managed to change the normal procedure here. Once Pilate was satisfied Jesus was dead, he managed to persuade Pilate to give the body of Jesus to him so he could do a proper burial. When Pilate, as I covered it in the last devotional, washed his hands of this tends to mean that he ceased to have any interest and have nothing further to do with Jesus, which was the case, but obviously people came to him about the body. And Pilate could relax as he had battle-hardened soldiers who had confirmed the death of Jesus on the cross. As if you read about it, you will see the graphic description of what happened. So the religious leaders at this point had their way. They'd got everything they wanted. Jesus was on the cross, he was dead. But it still wasn't quite finished, as they were worried about the claim that Jesus might return in 3 days. So once they found out where the body had laid, they went to Pilate and persuaded him to place a guard there. They thought that the disciples might try and spread secrets and lies about stealing the body, and that would manage to gather a following and potentially build a group that might lead to another insurrection, which the Romans definitely wouldn't want at that time. So Pilate sends a Roman guard and a Roman seal on the tomb. Even though Jesus was dead, God was still in control of everything. He allowed Jesus to bear this cup, and Jesus willingly bared this cup to the point of death. Prophecies were still coming true, even in Jesus' death. As it reads in Isaiah, that he will be buried in a rich man's grave. This defeats the whole Roman, this bypasses the whole Roman way of doing things. But I can only imagine how the disciples felt at this point. Their rabbi, their master, was dead. Completely, utterly dead. He was laid in a rock tomb. They probably thought that was it. That's the last they're ever going to see of their beloved Jesus. I'm sure some of them even questioned what they'd been, what just happened over the last few years. Like, what have they been a part of? Were they wrong? Did they make it up? Like, what's happening? I guess they only really relied on the hope and the truth of what they believed in Jesus' last messages. I don't know how I would have personally reacted to witnessing the graphic torture and the horrible crucifixion of Jesus if I was following him at that time. Especially in a Jewish culture, where they believe that a man is cursed by God if he is hung on a tree, which is effectively what happened to Jesus. In many ways, Jesus did become a curse. He took sin, he took death with him to the grave and defeated it. But this was a dark day, because the disciples did not know. Our Jesus had paid the ultimate price for us. And I'm very grateful that we live on this side of the cross and we can easily see that through other texts in the Bible that explain the death and explain what happened, and the fact that we can now see and we live in a world where Jesus is clearly involved and the Holy Spirit is clearly living inside a lot of us. So I'm very grateful for that. But they couldn't protect Jesus, and I feel like the disciples have been very, very sad about this. And when Peter did, he got told to, Satan, get behind me, which is a interesting thing for Jesus to say. It's always fun when that one comes up. But at the end of the day, this was a path that Jesus had to take, and this was destined before time. God knew what he had to do to reunite us. The ultimate price had to be paid. And again, I want us to spend a moment just thanking God for what has actually happened on our behalf, what he has actually done for us. You know, I want us this Easter, I know it's easy to get caught up in the family things and the Easter eggs and everything and the lovely, 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 lovely chocolate, but what I want us to realise is this is actually very, very serious, and what has happened is fundamentally changed history. Take a few minutes just to thank God for what's happened. God bless you guys.